Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. Today, we're going to be going over my Week 8 NFL Power Rankings. So we'll start off by briefly recapping my rankings from last week and what those teams did in Week 7. Now, last week, I actually wasn't able to post a Power Rankings video because my mic was giving me trouble, but I did post them in the Community tab of my channel. But last week, at number 10, I had the Patriots. They destroyed the Titans 31-13. Number 9, I had the Eagles. They beat the Vikings 28-22. 8, I had the Bills. They were on a bye. 7th, I had the Rams. They destroyed the Jaguars 35-7. 6th was the Seahawks. They beat the Texans 27-19. 5th, I had the Packers. They beat the Cardinals 27-23. Number 4, I had the Colts. They beat the Chargers 38-24. 3rd was the Lions. They beat the Buccaneers 24-9. Number 2, I had the Chiefs. They dominated the Raiders 31-0. And 1 was the Buccaneers, and they lost to the Lions 24-9. But getting into this week's rankings, beginning things at number 10, I've got the Patriots. The Patriots, they remain at number 10 after they destroyed the Titans 31-13. And if you want to have somebody else here at number 10, like the Broncos or the 49ers, I can definitely understand that, but I decided to keep the Patriots here because they played well, and I don't think they should drop it all. And if anything, they should move up. But the Patriots, they played well as they beat the Titans very easily, and they played another great game. Drake May continued to play really well as he completed 21 of his 23 passes for 222 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he also ran for 68 yards. And the Patriots, they were also great on the ground, as they ran for 175 yards and a touchdown, and 88 of those yards came from Rhamondre Stevenson, who had his best game of the season. And then defensively for the Patriots, they also played well. They allowed just 13 points, got 5 sacks, and forced 2 turnovers while returning one of them for a touchdown. And overall, this was a very good performance for the Patriots. But after an easy win for the Titans, I've got the Patriots at number 10. Ninth, I have the Eagles. So the Eagles, they're at number 9 after they beat the Vikings by a score of 28-22. And this is a pretty good game for the Eagles. For the first time this season, their offense really got going through the air, as Jalen Hurts had a big game through over 326 yards and 3 touchdowns. And A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith also put up big numbers, as Devontae Smith caught 9 passes for 183 yards and a score, and A.J. Brown caught 4 passes for 121 yards and 2 scores. Although, while the pass game was great for the Eagles, the run game continued to not be effective at all, as they ran for just 45 yards and 2 yards per carry, and that has been a major problem for the Eagles so far this season. And then the defense for the Eagles, they were also pretty good. They allowed 22 points, got 2 sacks, also picked off Carson Wentz twice, returning one of them for a touchdown. But this was another pretty good game for the Eagles. Definitely not their best performance because they weren't able to run the football, but it's definitely encouraging to see their pass game really get going. And the Eagles, they snapped their 2-game losing streak, and I've got them at number 9. Number 8, I have the Bills. The Bills, they've remained at number 8. They're on a bye this week. They're currently sitting at 4-2. Next week, they face the Panthers. 7th, I have the Rams. The Rams check in at number 7 after a dominant 35-7 win over the Jaguars in London. And this was a great game for the Rams. Their offense was just fine without Puka Nacua, and their pass game was still great as Matthew Stafford threw for 5 touchdowns. 3 of them went to Devontae Adams. Now, the run game wasn't great for the Rams, as they ran for just 89 yards on 3.1 yards per attempt, but with how good the pass game was, the offense got the job done. Then defensively, the Rams were also great. They held the Jaguars to just 7 points, their pass rush was great with 7 sacks, and their defense continued to play really well. But this is another good game for the Rams. They're now 5-2 on the season, and I've got them at number 7. Number 6, I have the Packers. The Packers, they're at number 6 after they beat the Cardinals by a score of 27-23. And this wasn't a great game for the Packers, as they were actually trailing 23-20 with 5 minutes to go, before they scored a touchdown to take the lead and stay in front. But this was still an okay game for the Packers. The offense was pretty good, putting up 27 points, although the numbers aren't anything too impressive. As Jordan Love, he threw for 179 yards and a touchdown, and the Packers' offense was okay on the ground with 94 yards, although Josh Jacobs did run for 2 touchdowns. And then the defense for the Packers, they were solid. They allowed 23 points and 330 total yards, but they did a great job getting to the quarterback as they had 6 sacks. 3 of them came from Micah Parsons. But a solid performance for the Packers. It definitely wasn't their best game, but they still got the win. That's what matters, and I've got the Packers at number 6. Number 5, I have the Seahawks. So the Seahawks, they move up a spot to number 5 after they beat the Texans by a score of 27-19. And this was another good game for the Seahawks. The offense continued to play well with 27 points against a great defense, and the Sam Darnold Jackson Smith-Jigba connection just gets better and better each week. As this week, Sam Darnold threw for 213 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, and Jackson Smith-Jigba caught 8 passes for 123 yards and a score. And then on the ground for the Seahawks offense, they were also pretty good, as they ran for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns, although they were held to under 4 yards per carry. And overall, this was a pretty good game for the Seahawks offense. Really, the only bad thing is they turned it over 4 times. Outside of that, the offense, they played well. And the defense for the Seahawks, they were also great. They allowed just 12 offensive points, held the Texans to just 3.7 yards per play, and their defensive line was also great, and they got CJ Stroud 3 times. But this was another good win for the Seahawks. They're now 5-2 on the season. They look like a very complete team, and I've got the Seahawks at number 5. Number 4, I have the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers fall from number 1 to number 4 after their 24-9 loss to the Lions. And this was not a great performance for the Buccaneers. The offense was held to a season low of just 9 points, and they really couldn't get much going. Baker Mayfield did not play that well, and he was off target on a lot of his throws. But he finished the game going 28 of 50 for 228 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And the run game for the Buccaneers really wasn't any better, as they ran for just 41 yards, although only ran the ball 12 times. But really the only positive thing this week for the Buccaneers offense was rookie receiver Tez Johnson, who's now found the end zone back-to-back weeks. But otherwise, this offense for the Buccaneers was not good. Then the defense for the Buccaneers, they weren't terrible, but they also weren't great, as they allowed 24 points and 379 total yards. But this was not a good game for the Buccaneers. It's their worst performance of the season by far. They dropped their second game of the year, and they dropped number 4 in my power rankings. Third, I have the Colts. The Colts then move up to number 3 after they got a nice win over the Chargers, winning 38-24. And this was another great game for the Colts. They were in control of this game the entire way, as they scored a touchdown in their first drive. They were up 20 at the half, and they were always up by at least 14 in the second half. But this was another really good performance. The offense played well once again, scoring at least 30 points for the 5th time in 7 games. Daniel Jones had another great game, throwing for 288 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Jonathan Taylor continued to run the ball extremely well, as he ran for 94 yards and 3 touchdowns. And this is actually his third 3-touchdown game of the season already. And then on the defensive side of the ball, the Colts, they're also good. They did allow 24 points and over 400 passing yards, but that's really just because the Chargers were throwing the ball a ton, trying to get back into the game. And the defense for the Colts, they also got 3 sacks and forced 2 turnovers. But the Colts, they continue to play extremely well, and I'm done doubting this team. I think this Colts team is really good. They're one of the best teams in the NFL. They've actually got the best record in the NFL at 6-1, and I've got the Colts at number 3. Second, I have the Lions. The Lions then move up a spot to number 2 after a dominant 24-9 win over the Buccaneers. And this is a great performance for the Lions because they've really dominated a very good Buccaneers team. But the offense for the Lions, they played well. Jared Goff threw for 241 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, and Jahmyr Gibbs had a huge game with over 200 scrimmage yards, as he ran for 136 yards and 2 scores, and also had 82 receiving yards. But the offense was great for the Lions, and that's nothing new, but I was really impressed with how their defense played, because they held a great Buccaneers offense to just 9 points, while getting 4 sacks and forcing 2 turnovers. And this is a defense that was extremely banged up, especially in the back end, as they were without every single Week 1 starter in the secondary, and they still held the Buccaneers to 210 passing yards. But this is a really impressive game for the Lions. They were able to dominate a really good Buccaneers team, and I've got the Lions at number 2. And coming in at number 1, I've got the Chiefs. So the Chiefs, they come in at number 1 after they dominated the Raiders 31-0. And this was a great all-around game. Patrick Mahomes continued to play really well, throwing for 286 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Rashee Rice also caught 2 touchdowns in his season debut. And then the Chiefs, they were also really effective on the ground, rushing for 152 yards and a touchdown. And then the defense for the Chiefs was insane. They did not allow a point and held the Raiders to just 95 total yards. But this was a great game for the Chiefs, and it seems a little weird having them at 1 despite them only being 4-3. But they're playing extremely well. I think they're playing like the best team in the NFL, and because of that, I've got the Chiefs at number 1. But those are my Week 8 NFL Power Rankings. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you in the next video.